Well, we are getting you the live pictures from the AICC headquarters, the Congress headquarters, where the former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh's mortal remains has been brought for the party workers and Karyakarta and all the media from across the country who have arrived here in the national capital to pay their last respect. This is the AICC office. And at your screens right now, you can see there are leaders who are paying their last respect. The mortal remains are going to be here for an hour, and then it's going to go forward for its onward journey towards Nigam Bodh Ghat, where his last rites are going to be carried out. There are several political reactions that have come in of the Congress leaders who fondly remember Dr. Singh, remembering all the times that they have worked together with him and the kind of mentor that he has been to them. Let's listen in to a few reactions that have come in on Dr. Singh's demise.
Every part of every single citizen of this country has to remember him on whatever the works he has done for the country. He has done on a giving our rights through the constitution. Either it may be right to education, right to food, right to employment, right to transparency, or what, or right, fair. All the farmers, land losers in the country are getting a very huge compensation. That is a big revolution to the entire nation who have lost their land. So everyone is getting that benefit. So he has looked at every section of the society.
वो डगमगाए नहीं, अपना काम देश के प्रति ईमानदारी से करना, यही वो समझते थे। और कभी रिवेंज पॉलिटिक्स उनके कभी छुई भी नहीं। काम करना, देश को आगे बढ़ाना और ईमानदारी के साथ बढ़ाना, यही उनका काम था। और इस देश में आज जो कुछ एक हम लोग स्टेबल दिख रहे हैं, वो उनकी पुण्याई है।
And to discuss this further, I'm joined by an esteemed panel of guests this morning, Dr. Uday Nirugudkar, who's a senior journalist. Good morning, sir. Of course, this is a somber day that I am speaking to you as we speak. The mortal remains of the former Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, is right now at the Congress headquarters. The party workers and the senior leaders, all of them who remember Dr. Singh fondly, have arrived here to pay their last respect. But Dr. Nirudkar, how do you see Dr. Manmohan Singh's stint not only as the Prime Minister, but somebody who was there in public life for a very long time, and his only agenda, in a sense, was to serve the people? How do you remember Dr. Nirudkar? How do you remember Dr. Singh?
I think today is a sad day for Indian democracy and Indian polity. The taller men are going, and the dwarf people and their shadows are looming all across. The country has lost a son, a great son. Today is that unfortunate morning when normally sun rises in the morning. In India, today in the morning, sun sets in, whose lumina, whose illumination is not burning illumination, but something which is going to provide light to generations and thinkers. Where intellectuality is taking a divorce from today's political situations, when intolerance has increased, which we have seen recently in the parliament. We miss this person who was definitely from the era who could be called as a true statesman, who is regarded not just in country, but all across the globe, where even Obama said, when Manmohan speaks, people listen. Now today, that voice is silent, who gave us Manrega, who gave us Aadhaar, who gave us right to information, who gave us right to education, who brought the food security bill, who laid the foundation of GST. Amidst all controversies, he got the nuclear deal through. We are bearing the fruits. His reforms since 1991, governments have gone and governments have come. Rulers have changed, but nobody could change or reverse the path of liberalization, privatization, and globalization which he bestowed on this country. That speaks the volume of his vision coming from a Nehruvian doctrine. He ushered India away from socialism to a corporatization. He successfully did divestment. There are so many facets of this man. His contribution to economics can be counted in the pages of history. But most importantly, a very soft-spoken, a very thorough gentleman who lived his middle-class values in spite of having best of the aircrafts and cars at his disposal as a prime minister. He still would love his old Maruti 800. That's the middle-class values he lived with, which are very rare in today's political situation. So in all, I would say, a soft voice has gone with firm determination. A political demeanor has gone, which was often misunderstood as feckleness. A decency, which is barely seen in today's general or political life. I would say a politicians which did not suit our behavior. In fact, his last words that history will be kinder to me than today's journalists speaks volume of this man. Coming from such a poor background, for first 10 years of his life, his village did not have electricity. And imagine, he went ahead to give that clean energy nuclear deal, making India power independent. This is something which I would say this man will be known for. He ran the coalition government where there is Samajwadi Party, which is pro-minority on one side, and BSP, which is pro-Dalit on the other side. You have left, which is anti-corporatization, and you have a corporatization lobby, and the need of the situation is to go in for corporatization. Imagine how he would have ran this government, and on the top of it, you have National Advisory Council. On the top of it, your ordinances are getting torn. On the top of it, media has been extremely unkind to you. Still, his tenure, we will see 7 to 8% economic growth, except 2008, which was a year of global meltdown. I remember a banner in 2006 Davos, where India was described as world's fastest growing economy. That banner stands the testimony of the contribution of this man.
But Dr. Nirudkar, you know how Dr. Singh had a demeanor of being somebody of a very few words. He was reticent. And that is where do you think his silence was being misread and misconstrued by the political class and the media at large, given the fact that Dr. Singh wasn't really somebody who was open to talking to the media or enjoying the public lights that much. At the same time, he never let go of any opportunity to hold press conferences.
It was his style. See, every prime minister comes with their own style. There is no point in comparing and then criticizing and using this opportunity to criticize somebody who is not so keen on taking press conferences. People need to understand that each and everybody comes with own set of characteristics which are extremely useful to the nation, and that's how the nations are built. Even in England, we had Chamberlain, we had Winston Churchill, we have Clement Attlee. all three different personalities, all three different political thoughts. And that makes the democracy of the country richer than anything else. Yes, he was a soft-spoken gentleman. His soft voice was often mistaken as his meekness, which was being unkind to him. His political demure, which is rare to be seen, even in those days, forget about today, was often mistaken as feckleness. His political decency to the core, and not something which is for the show business purpose or for the photo op, that makes him unsuitable politician then and even now. I remember a senior political editor whom I work with once went to meet him in 2009 at his prime ministerial residence. And imagine what happened. As he was talking to the prime minister, a lady with the tray in the hand walks in with a cup of tea and some biscuits and cookies and served them. You know who that lady was? That lady was the prime minister's wife. Imagine such a simple life. Even you have everything, every world possible domestic help at your disposal. And then when was asked, Madam, why did you bring it? She only said one line, मुझे मेरा काम करने दीजिए. मुझे इसी में आनंद है. I'm very happy in doing my domestic work and serving the guests like you who came to visit my husband. Imagine this kind of simplicity.
Do you think, Dr. Nirudkar, the fact that Dr. Singh was hailing from a very humble background, he had a humble beginning, and in a sense, he was complimented by his partner, his wife, like you mentioned, humko mera kaam karne do. They never really thought that any work was menial in nature. It's the reason why the former Prime Minister also ensured that there was a minimum wage guarantee. He thought about the rural people and ensured that Manrega was a huge success.
Yes, of course. What you said is absolutely right. Born in a poor family and losing mother at a very young age and raised by grandmother, and having lived in a village which did not have a proper road, did not have a proper electricity or sanitation or proper school. Now that had a lasting impact on his upbringing, and maybe that urge, that desire, that I would say burn to make the things changed for the poor man or the last man in the row came from the suffering he himself had seen in the childhood. And that's how you will find he worked towards this RTI, he worked towards RTE, he worked towards food security, he worked towards nuclear deal. That gave India a foundation to have a strong 40 crore middle class. Now that middle class is the biggest strength of India at this point of time. And that is the creation of Manmohan Singh, who was in political life, who was in public life, who was in administrative life for more than 5 decades. And imagine not a single iota of doubt on his unquestionable integrity, character, and of course, uncorrupt nature, where the whole world around him was accused of being corrupt, be it various scams under his nose, these variety of things happening, but still he was a completely, spotlessly clean man who contributed not just to raise the bar of economic standards of this country, but more important, personal behavior at the highest office, which is very rare to be seen.
Absolutely, Dr. Nirudkar. Kindly stay with us. We're slipping into a short break, Dr. Nirudkar, and we will come back to you to discuss the life and the legacy of Dr. Manmohan Singh.